Well, joining us tonight, Attorney Sidney Powell, General Michael Flynn's defense attorney, and Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch. Great to have you both with us. Let's turn to this vote tonight. This is an extraordinary moment with an extraordinary talent moving to the court. Sidney, your thoughts on the importance of her confirmation to the court?
Well, I love the fact that she's from a non-quote Ivy League end quote school. Her law school is excellent. Her career is impeccable. Her scholastic talents and achievements are extraordinary. She knows the law as well or better than anybody I've ever seen. I think she's going to be a remarkable and wonderful addition to the court and will hopefully stabilize it more than it has been in the past and help return us to a true interpretation of the Constitution as opposed to having justices create law.
Tom, we were talking with Christopher Scalia just before you. And talking about originalism, and I just couldn't help but think about the fact that this is a court that has decided on one case, well-known case, at least the Chief Justice did, with some support, enough support, to decide that a tax is a wonderful interpretation of the law, when indeed it was a fine in terms of original interpretation. Your thoughts?
Well, liberal or conservative, Chief Justice Roberts is the most political justice up there in some respects. The way he tries to thread the needle to try to satisfy both sides. And soon-to-be Justice Barrett is a great educator for the U.S. Constitution. The more she talked, the more people liked her. So she could have a dramatic influence not only on the court, but increasing the public respect for the Constitution. I'm excited as all get out because I'm heading over to the White House after this to celebrate and watch her swearing in. I think it was only 30 days ago that she was announced. This is remarkable. It's remarkable leadership by President Trump, and dare I say it, by the Senate Republicans. It's one of the few things they got right this year, getting this judge on the bench as quickly as they did.
Yeah, I don't often compliment the majority leader, but I will join you in doing so. Senator McConnell has done an extraordinary job, not only with Amy Coney Barrett's nomination, moving to confirmation, but with all of the judges that the president has nominated and moved into district courts and appellate courts. It's been a historic advancement. So now I want to turn to the Biden family and this corruption scandal that has enveloped them as a result of Hunter Biden and a laptop that the FBI was in possession of for 10 months, but didn't do anything until a Delaware computer shop owner turned it over to one of their agents. What do you make of the impact of this scandal for the Bidens?
I think it is and should be completely devastating to his candidacy. His candidacy has always been a complete fraud. The other Democrats know exactly who he is and what he's been doing and the many problems that exist within the Biden family and the campaign. They chose him for that purpose. They're really trying to install Kamala Harris in the office. The big question is, who would she pick as her vice president? Because when they take out Biden, whenever that is, she would be, quote, president, end quote, assuming that ticket were elected, and then she would get to simply choose her vice president, and that would be an unelected person. The whole thing is just another one of the Democrats' massive frauds on the American people. It's hideous.
Well, another of those massive frauds, and writ large, it may be on electoral history, is what they're doing with mail-in voting and outright voter fraud. No one's more involved in that assault on the American way of life and our electoral system than Judicial Watch. Tom, give us a sense of why Twitter and others and social media are trying to shut down your your messages on voter fraud, for crying out loud.
We put out a study, straightforward study. Over 300 counties in 29 states have more people on the rolls that are eligible and living there. So it's a 1.8 million extra names. I've raised the concern that mailing 100 million ballots out to people who didn't ask for them and ballot applications out to people who didn't ask for them will result in increased voter fraud and chaos on Election Day. They deleted those tweets or suppressing those tweets because A, they're in dispute, and B, they might mislead people. So they're completely accurate. It's been well established by every election law expert until this year that voting by mail is riskier in terms of voter fraud. And frankly, you're more likely to have your vote thrown out if you vote by mail. I tell you what, if you're listening to me, vote in person, especially so close to the election. Wait till you can go either in person, early voting, or vote on Election Day. It's the best way to ensure your vote's going to count. Twitter doesn't want you to know that. You know why? Because they still think it would help Democrats to have more people vote in person, vote by mail, because they think that they're more likely to do so. A, I don't even believe that's true technically, but practically they think politically it's helpful for them. So they're going to suppress questions about relying on the mails to vote. It's unlawful business practices as far as I'm concerned. It's fraud, and it should be stopped by the FTC, every government agency under the sun. Instead, they're allowed to do it with barely a yawn from this town.
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court has just ruled against the Democrats. This is breaking news. Has just ruled against the Democrats, voting 5-3 to deny the permission for voters to have 6 days after the election in which to have their ballots valid. Your take, Sid, on that ruling, that judgment?
Well, that's progress. That's definitely a step in the right direction. But they should not be able to send out ballots to people who have not requested them. It is just a situation ripe for massive fraud. And frankly, I think that's why they want to do it, because they know they can take ballots and fill them in for other people, as opposed to having somebody have to go in and vote. Voting is so important, and every illegal vote takes away the valid vote of an American citizen.